Welcome to South Dakota. We sure wish you could be here in person, but since that's not possible this year, we'd like to show you around and tell you a little bit about our state. South Dakota has a population of about 900,000. Only 4 states have a smaller population. Our state is 600 kilometers from east to west and 380 kilometers from north to south. Agriculture is our #1 industry. The state has 31,700 farms and ranches. 98% of those are family owned and operated. Nearly 3,000 South Dakota farms have been in the same family for more than 100 years. The average size of a South Dakota farm is 1,366 acres or 553 hectares. South Dakota ranks 6th among all states in corn production. We harvest about 800 million bushels of corn and 250 million bushels of soybeans annually. Nearly 1/3 of our corn is exported. 1/2 is processed at our 16 ethanol plants that have a capacity to produce well more than 1 billion gallons of ethanol and 3 million metric tons of DDGs. The rest of our corn is used for livestock feed. Now, let's take an up-close look at some of our farms and hear from 2 of our farmers.
Hi, I'm Scott Stahl, and this is South Dakota Farming. My name is Scott Stahl. I'm a 3rd-generation family farmer here in southeast South Dakota. I come from Bridgewater, South Dakota, here in western McCook County. I farm with my wife, Amanda, and my 5 children. I also farm with my dad and my uncle. It's exciting to see my boys already start to take some interest in the farm, and to see my grandpa and my dad go through some of the challenges they went through over the years and also some of the challenges we face now. It's nice to have the backing of family, knowing that a lot of things are out of your control. You got to be able to count on people to help you through. Really excited to be a part of this industry and know that we can really make a difference, and we're very proud to produce the best agriculture products in the world here in South Dakota, and I say that with a lot of pride. A lot of work and management goes into it, and we're excited to see that the 2020 growing year has paid off in this area. Moisture content on the grain is about 20% for corn. Industry standard is 15% for long-term storage. We don't anticipate having to dry a lot of our corn this year. We are drying some now with propane in order to get that moisture content so it's good quality for long-term storage. My wife is also part of the operation. She runs the grain cart during the fall. Definitely a fun time of year for our family. In 2020, we had corn, soybeans, and oats planted on our operation. As you can see, harvest has started here on our operation, and really an exciting time of year, especially this year because yields are coming in very strong in our area, which is something that's nice to see the payoff for a year's worth of hard work and planning. We also have a cattle operation, we have a calf-cow operation, and a cattle feedlot in which we feed cattle. Really, corn has provided a lot of synergy for our operation, corn being a feedstuff in itself. And then also we feed DDGs, which come from ethanol plant as a byproduct of the ethanol process. It really has been transformative to the cattle industry as well as the corn industry in this area in southeast South Dakota, in which we've been able to use the DDGs to mix into our feedstuffs and make a very high quality, cost-effective ration. Agriculture in 2020 is an exciting place to be. We just see technology advancing further and further, allowing for systems that provide for us to obtain really strong yields, even with less and less use of resources, and that's something that I'm proud to be proud of how sustainable farming has become here in the 21st century. As I mentioned before, we have started corn and soybean harvest. We're about 30% harvested on soybeans and 10% harvested on corn at this point. The yields have come in very strong. Quality of the grain is excellent on both the corn and soybean crops this year, with good moisture content and good test weight, really good quality crop. The 2020 growing year was a good growing year for us. 2019 we had a very wet year, which saturated our soils and provided for good subsoil for the 2020 growing season. We did get into some areas of drought here in August as we did start to miss some of those rains and the heat did take its toll, but most of our crops were past their reproductive stages at that point. The grain and the fruit of the crop was already developed before it got into the drought stages here. So we really have a good quality corn and soybean crop, which is something to be excited about because it's not always that way in South Dakota. I would say limiting factor year after year in South Dakota in this area would be moisture availability during reproductive cycle. So as you get into July and August, some of those crops, if they don't have adequate moisture, really can affect their yield. But we didn't see too much of that this year, and we're really thankful. You know, as a farmer, you realize a lot of things are out of your control. Most of the control is in God's hands, and He gave us a good growing season, which I'm very thankful for here in 2020.
Hello, greetings from Northeast South Dakota. My name is Travis Strasser. I'm reaching out to you today from the South Dakota Corn Growers Association, and I farm with my dad and my brother. And today we are in the process of combining soybeans. This is day 3 of harvest for us. Yields have been up and down. For the most part, everything has been good quality, dry, good test weight. Our yields are quite variable. We start out the year rather wet, but we're able to get everything planted in a timely manner. Throughout the growing season, we did dry out in the middle of summer. That did hurt our grain yields, but yet we still had good quality. As you can see in the background there, the combine's just getting rolling in this field. We are just starting. I got my brother driving the combine, and then my dad is hiding in the grain cart tractor there. Today we're pretty excited about getting out in the field and getting going on harvest. We have not started on corn yet. We're still probably a week, 10 days away at a minimum. We have hand shelled some samples, and we do see around 18% moisture. Great test weight so far. We would anticipate a good quality grain to export. In the past couple of years, we have dried most of our grain from anywhere from 23% moisture down to that 14-15% moisture level. This year, we do not anticipate having to dry much of our grain. It is late September, but yesterday we were 84 degrees, so we're seeing good dry down in this grain, and we anticipate to have good quality there. So we raise soybeans, corn, and spring wheat. Spring wheat harvest ended in August, and we had average yield, but great quality grain, great protein levels, good color, good quality there. So we would anticipate great grain to export there as well. The majority of our grain that's harvested here, these soybeans, will end up at our local elevator, and they will most likely end up on a rail car heading out to the Pacific Northwest. And the same with our spring wheat. Most of that will get shipped out as well. Our corn that we harvest will end up going, about 75% of that is going to go to ethanol production at our local ethanol plant, and the other remaining 25% will end up on rail as well and get shipped out. So that's kind of a snapshot of what we've got going here in Northeast South Dakota. Again, Travis Strasser. I wish we were doing this in person instead of virtually, but thank goodness for technology that allows us to connect nonetheless.
Well, that wraps it up. We hope you enjoyed your virtual visit and learned a few things along the way. Hey, thanks for joining us. We wish you the very best.